Howdy everyone, you'll see Voltage, and I'm actually reacting to another Johnstone video because I don't know better, and plus because I actually wanted to rewatch this one because I actually don't remember watching in the past. This is the one where it catches a shiny before each gym battle, or before each badge, so I guess.
This video. What's going on, guys? My name is John, and welcome back to the...
Let's just fix the situation. There we go. Okay, let's just do this thing. There we go.
Throughout all my years of playing Pokemon, I've always wanted to do a playthrough of beating a game with a team of shiny Pokemon. Granted, I technically already did that with every Pokemon in Let's Go Eevee, but the idea of making my way through the game with whatever rare Pokemon the game decided to grant me with always seemed like a neat challenge. I decided to give that idea a shot in Pokemon Scarlet and take on a shiny badge quest. A challenge where for all 18 badges in the game, I have to get a shiny Pokemon and see how good of a team I can craft before the end of the game. Here's how it went. So to start my journey, I went through the initial introduction with the main character.
I will tell you, it's not easy to find shinies.
I was fully ready to swap out for something shinier, and made my way to Mesa Goza to register for school. After going through the introduction of the three main paths in the story, I was free to begin my long quest of tackling the region. Now, if you know anything about this game, there's a lot of freedom in how we can take on this challenge, as we can choose the order of the badges we get, as well as basically start this adventure in any part of the region.
Yep.
When it came to tackling the first shiny in this adventure, I really wanted to make the game decide for me. Although I had a bunch of shinies I was really interested in going for, the thought of just stumbling upon the first member of the challenge just kind of felt like the first episode of the anime. There were no starter options left for Ash, so he had to choose at the time an out of the ordinary option. Because I picked my starter at the beginning of the game around Poco Path, I figured that would be the most appropriate location to begin my first hunt, which brings me to talking about our first shiny hunting method in the game. Random encounters.
Yeah, you just walk around.
Shiny hunt in any Pokemon game, and for a lot of the classic games in the franchise, encountering Pokemon over and over until one ends up being shiny was the only choice that you had. Out of all the options to look for shinies in this game, this method has the lowest chances of finding one, as the odds are 1 in 4,096, or better known as the base or full odds in the game.
Yep.
Although that may seem like a high number, it's important to consider the fact that because this game is open world, you can see 5, 10, and even 20 plus Pokemon in the same area, so there's a lot of potential in finding it in a reasonably fast time. While I'm trying to hunt down my first member, I want to take a second to thank the Pokemon Company International for sponsoring this video. Pokemon Day is finally here, and there are huge updates coming to Pokemon Unite to celebrate. Starting now, Zacian is playable at no cost in Unite battles, and you can take advantage of its Unite move, King's Sword. This multi-hit move can easily take down multiple foes at once.
This mod was stupid when it first was released.
Collected to deal even more damage. Do you see that right there? In addition, you can take on a limited time boss rush featuring Zacian, where you take part in the boss rush.
Let's just get past the sponsorship part, but I'll still watch the rest of it. But I just want to get past the sponsorship part.
Thank you again to the Pokemon Company International for sponsoring this video, and let's check back in on that shiny hunt. Oh.
Fletchling!
I think that's a shiny Fletchling.
That is. Nice first member, honestly.
Oh, it is! Wow, that was impossible to see. That's crazy. Okay, so I got this after 3,556 encounters. I was fully expecting to get this Pokemon, so I'm not shocked at all.
Count?
The route that I took, the entire time, it was just non-stop Fletchling after Fletchling after Fletchling, so that doesn't really shock me in the slightest.
Well, it's good, because the first gym is grass type.
So
or bug type if you want to go for the other gym.
There you go.
Bug tip for Katie.
So one important thing to note that's going to make a big impact in the difficulty of this challenge is, unlike a lot of previous Pokemon games, there's no overworld indicator if a Pokemon is shiny or not.
Yeah.
For example, in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, the Pokemon would sparkle, and in Legends Arceus, you would hear a sound if one was in the area. This means that at some point leading up to this, I could have easily seen another shiny and completely missed it, but out of most of the options in this area, this is easily one of the better members to have on the team.
Yeah,
however,
I'll be honest.
there was a small downside. Modest nature? Yikes. That's so bad. Oh, no.
Oh.
On the upside, I can purchase a mint to change my nature to whatever I want.
Yeah.
For the next few badges, this little bird is going to make things a little difficult. As mentioned earlier, unlike doing badge quests in other Pokemon games where you have to do them in standard gym order, we're free to take on whatever we want. Obviously, I prefer to not take on level 40 battles, so the entire balance of the challenge is thrown off, so the options surrounding Mesa Goza are probably going to be the best place to start. The most obvious choice would be to take on Cloth, because I can get the ability to dash, and then do random encounters much faster than before, but Fletchling is quad weak to rock type moves. However, there is one gym leader that I'm pretty confident
Katie.
that I could take down. To the surprise of absolutely no one, Katie is going to be the first badge in the challenge, as her team is focused around bug-type Pokemon. Although my physical moves were pretty weak, I was able to quickly take down her team and claim the first badge in the game. With this unlocked, the obedience for Pokemon that we try to get in the wild increased, and this will be a huge help for breaking down new locations that we can easily venture to as we get deeper into the process. So at this point, I was interested in trying to take on a different type of hunt, and thankfully a new one just recently became available. On the map of the region, there were a bunch of question marks scattered around in every area. When you visit the area, you can find an outbreak of a large collection of one type of Pokemon. Not only does this improve your chances of finding something that you really want, but the odds of finding a shiny in these mass outbreaks are significantly higher. Because I really didn't have many Pokemon registered in my decks, a majority of these initially are a mystery, so I decided to venture deeper into the map around Artisan and just go for whatever was available.
Magikarp!
Wait, this one would actually be really fun. Oh, I'm so down to do this. Okay. Although this was a cool find because I love this shiny, there was a glaring problem in that Fletchling alone was definitely not going to be able to handle catching a Pokemon that it's weak to. So I quickly backtracked up the road to get a Pikachu to help streamline this process. Coincidentally, this catch gave me enough XP to evolve Fletchling into Pikachu, which made me a little bit more confident that I wouldn't fail getting this shiny if I managed to find one. Now let's talk about the actual method of shiny hunting with outbreaks. By battling Pokemon that
He got
appear in the
60 of them?
you receive a boosted chance for your future spawns to have a higher chance of being shiny. After defeating 30 Pokemon, your odds increase from 1 in 4,096 to 1 in 2048, and if you defeat 60 or more, they increase to 1 in 1,365, or triple the standard odds for the game. While this seems a lot better than the random encounters that I did for Fletchling, there is a small issue. Mass outbreaks spawn a finite amount of Pokemon, ranging from 100 to 120, and once all of them are defeated, the outbreak notification will disappear, and you can no longer get the increased odds for that area. This means that realistically, you have about 40 to 60 attempts to get a shiny before they're gone, which obviously isn't too likely even with a significant boost. However, there is a little trick.
Unless you pick the reset.
If you open up the picnic feature through the menu, you notice that all the Pokemon that were visible in the area will disappear. Once you close out of the picnic, a bunch of new Pokemon will start popping up, and this applies to outbreaks as well. This means that if you knock out 60 Magikarp and keep opening and closing the picnic, you can keep re-rolling new Pokemon without worrying of losing the outbreak.
And there you go.
This doesn't work is if your console clock rolls over to the next day, as the outbreaks on the map change every 24 hours. But aside from that, you basically guarantee that with a little bit of patience, you can find the exact shiny that you want. So with that in mind, I knocked them out and gave this trick a shot. That was so fast.
And there you go.
That was so fast. What was that, 94? Oh my god. That's crazy. I just started. Well, look at that. That's so sick. That was
That was so laggy there.
I think that was like 95 encounters. It might have been a little bit more, a little bit less, but either way, it did not take very long to get this. Alright. Look at that. That's so shiny. That looks so good. Wow, they nailed this one for sure. I'm a big fan of this one. With all that taken care of, I knew that I'd be able to finally take down the Cloth Titan, and I just needed to do a little bit of preparation. Thankfully, because I caught this at level 23, I was able to just use one of the rare candies that I picked up earlier to instantly evolve it into Gyarados. Now, although this definitely makes it a lot more useful, its current moveset is not that great. On the upside, because we can relearn moves, we're given access to all
Waterfall, Brine, Ice Fang, Whirlpool, Twister,
that this was going to be a cakewalk. After taking down Cloth with Arven, I was able to unlock Dash and Rhydon, which means I have a lot more potential to run through encounters a lot faster than before. That being said, my plan was to go for another random encounter to test this theory, but to be fair, I was pretty lucky with Fletchling, so this will probably take quite a... Are you kidding me?
Oh, Lord of it, he shakes, baby!
Just ended the Titan! What are you doing?
Hey, little buddy!
Well, let's go take on another badge, I guess. Out of nearly all the Gen 4 shinies, this is easily one of my favorites, so this was definitely one of the best finds out of everything that was available in this area. Although this was a pleasant surprise, there were a few issues with it. It ended up having the ability Rivalry, which makes it so it deals less damage to male Pokemon, and unlike the Natures, abilities can't be changed until you reach the post-game, so this Shinx is going to be nerfed for the remainder of the challenge. After spending a bit of time grinding up to match the rest of my team's levels, it evolved into Luxio, and I surveyed my options for what my third unlock was going to be. Although taking on another team would be pretty helpful, I decided to head back over to Cortando and make my way up to the Sky Titan.
Hey, Murder!
It was really easy to defeat, and with this, we're now able to surf, which opens up nearly the entire map, and additionally gives us the opportunity to hunt some deep water Pokemon that before would have been a nightmare to go for. From here, I decided that I needed to balance out all of the good luck that I've been having, so I decided to go for another random encounter hunt, but this time, I had a target. Below Cortando in the marsh area, under a lot of trees and bushes, you can find Toadschool. Out of all the new Gen 9 shinies in this game, this one is by far one of the most unique ones in my opinion, and I felt that its grass ground typing was
It's honestly probably the better shinies, I think, in my opinion, for this new
Unfortunately, this
generation.
Pokemon is pretty rare, but I had an idea on how I could improve my chances. Although I'd already been using picnics to hunt, by crafting specific sandwich recipes at the table, you can generate boosts for
Encounter
specific type
power.
of Pokemon to appear, and I figured that this hunt is definitely going to be the best time to try that out. After making a ground encounter sandwich, they definitely started appearing more often, but since they only spawn under trees, they were still pretty limited. I was averaging around 160 encounters per hour just running around, but I was still seeing other cool Pokemon, so there was still a lot of potential to get something nice. Is that shiny? Oh, it is! Oh, look at that! Wow!
Shiny Paldean Wooper. Huh.
It's not as... No, actually, it's way cooler. Never mind.
Wooper, Wooper, Wooper.
Wasn't facing the right way. This came after 235 Toadschool, which is, not terrible, not bad. Oh, that's so good! Sick. Although this wasn't exactly what I was looking for, this is one of the targets that I had for this playthrough, and I think I know what badge I can take on next. After grinding out a few Pterodens, I earned enough candies to evolve into Clodsire, and made my way back to the East Provinces to challenge my first Team Star base. Meal's badge is based around Fire-type Pokemon, and with Clodsire's ground typing, as well as some help from Gyarados, I had no problem clearing through the waves of trainers, as well as the Starmobile to claim the badge. After completing this section, I decided that I wanted to try for another mass outbreak, and although there were a few unknown locations, there was one available in a new area, the western part of the region.
Oh, it's a
which
water
would be
type.
a great way to test out my surfing abilities that I gained from the last Titan. What I actually found there was nothing I could have ever imagined.
Finizen!
No way! Oh my, this
Ooh.
is a sweet treat for sure. If you aren't aware, Finizen is my favorite Gen 9 Pokemon, and although I already have a water type on my team,
It took him 9 generations to get a friggin' dolphin.
Despite already doing a mass outbreak before, one big difference with this one is that you can't do a picnic reset method for the obvious reasons.
You're in the water.
The best option I could find was to just ride back and forth into the outbreak area until I find one. Because of the amount of time it takes to set the picnic and close the menu normally, this is actually way faster. However, being speedy does have its downsides.
No!
Shelder. It looks so similar to Shelder. Oh!
Oh, hello, Love Disc!
Well, there you go. Well, that's not really what I was looking for. I mean, it's a great shiny, don't get me wrong. It is a great shiny, but that is significantly worse than what I was looking for.
But it's kind of ass at combat.
During this hunt, this was probably the weakest Pokemon that I found. But
yeah.
Shiny-wise, this was honestly a great addition to the team. Because I mentioned earlier that I didn't want to jump around the map to complete badges because it would throw off the leveling for the challenge, I was basically forced at this point to take on the Artisan Gym. Level-wise, my team was going to be perfectly okay, but Brassius' team loved this. So, to no surprise, its participation skills were extremely low. Thankfully, with some help from Fletchender and Clodsire, I was able to get the 5th badge in my adventure. For the next section, I decided to work backwards. I made the plan of taking down Iono's gym in Levincia, so I wanted to find a Pokemon that could easily handle the members of her team, and thankfully, the area north of the city offers a big list that we can work with. In the quarries, I managed to find another mass outbreak, which ended up being a group of Varoom. Although it doesn't really give me a typing advantage because it's Steel Poison, this is an extremely good shiny. It's just there's one issue.
It's very, very, very fast.
It's impossible to tell. Now, unlike some other notable similar color shinies like Garchomp and Gengar, where you can't really tell the difference, this is an issue. When you look at these two pictures of Varoom, it seems like it would be blatantly obvious when you find a shiny in the wild, but these pictures don't account for how reflective this Pokemon looks in game. During my picnic resets, there were so many moments I had to stop and genuinely stare at the screen to make sure that it was just the ground reflecting off the steel of Varoom and not an actual shiny appearing. But eventually, I was able to find my shiny.
Hey, Q-Fan!
Oh, are you kidding me? I didn't find a single Reveroom, but I find a shiny Q-Fan.
It's
man.
not a bad Pokemon, honestly.
It's still a steel type, so I'm cool with it.
It's a cute Pokemon.
Nice.
You can't complain about Q-Fan ever. It's a cutie.
Which is over odds for sure. With another member found, I finally made it to a third of the way through the challenge, which also means that I've collected an entire party of shiny Pokemon, which definitely was going to make claiming these badges a lot easier. After
Mm-hmm.
going through some storyline events with our rival and taking on the gym test, I was able to put Q-Fan and Clodsire to work
Yep.
and claim another badge. At this point, I reached an interesting situation. Whatever Pokemon that I find next has to replace another member on my team. I took a quick look at my typings and realized that one of the better choices would be a fighting type, and thankfully I knew exactly what to go for. Back at the western section of Cortando, if you start making your way up the mountain path,
Mankey.
there's a strong chance you'll come across Mankey. Despite being very common,
Annihilate.
I figured that making a fighting type sandwich would help a lot, considering that it's pretty much the only fighting type in the area. I was able to scrape together the ingredients to make a Fighting Power 2 sandwich, which gives a higher chance than the boost that we've been working with before, and the results were pretty interesting. Oh my god, there's so many monkeys. Oh, we're gonna find this so fast. Yeah, about that. Out of all the hunts that I completed in this challenge, this was by far numerically the longest hunt. Granted that I was finding about 3,000 Yankee per hour, but this took much longer than I would have ever expected. Wait, is that shiny? Oh, it is!
Hey, it's a Drifloon.
Oh, it's a shiny Drifloon. That took...
You can't complain. It's a great shiny, honestly. It's a great golden
I
shiny.
didn't find a single Mankey. This took me 13,492 encounters to get. That's a lot of encounters. It's right at the end of the power, too. With 7 shinies obtained, I decided that I would go in order of the Pokemon obtained to choose who was rotated out of the party.
Fletchling.
Because
Fletchinger's
Fletchinger
gone.
has one more evolution, I decided to swap out Gyarados, which was by far the strongest member on the team, so this badge was definitely going to be interesting. At this point, the team was in desperate need of a level boost, so I spent a little bit of time grinding out some more Terradens, and I was able to get the group to around level 30 and 31, which resulted in evolving Drifloon into Drifblim and Luxio into Luxray. When it came time to pick up there weren't really any standout options, as the next 3 are all next to each other, so I decided to make my way to Cascarava.
Kofu! Hello, my dude!
Although I was on par level-wise with Kofu's team, his team was actually super strong and pretty difficult to take down, and after losing nearly my entire team, I was able to defeat his other Pokemon and finish this section of the quest. Because the northern section of the city leads to the desert, I figured this area would be the best segue to approach the next part of the badge quest. Oh, Donphan? Oh, 100%. 100% I'm doing this. I want Dumby right now. If there's anything you should know about me, I love the Phanpy line. And considering that shiny is quite different from its standard colors, I figured this would be a pretty noticeable hunt.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there it is.
Wow, yeah, that
fast.
that stands out like a mile.
With all my heart. This Pokemon is amazing. Oh, there we go.
It's honestly pretty cool. Like the shiny.
On the team. Okay, so I think after this, because I have not done any of the Team Star bases, I think I'm going to do that. Which is going to be the dark.
Melapirty doesn't exist.
Line-wise, level-wise, I think that it's best to do the dark one because I think that's lower level. So
it's level 20.
Go do that. Before I made my way over there, I realized way too far into the challenge that I really should be nicknaming all of my Pokemon. So allow me to reintroduce you to Heart, Dumby, Trunks, Voltaire, Goodyear, Bert, Thrasher, and him. After grinding out some I managed to clear through the base and defeat Giacomo's Starmobile, which now leads us to the halfway point of the challenge. Upon opening up the game that day, I managed to find another outbreak, but this happened to be one that I failed to get earlier in the challenge. Although I've been doing a lot of outbreaks in this challenge, nearly every single one up to this point has resulted in finding a full odds Pokemon right outside of it, so I really wanted to try and hunt down some more Pokemon that I really wanted to be part of the team. Like I mentioned earlier, this is easily one of the most
Toad's cruel and Toad's cool. Have great shinies.
Until I found exactly what I came here for. Oh, there it is!
Hey, buddy!
This is after 762 encounters.
Not bad.
This is the 5th one that showed up on screen. I really, really like this Pokemon's evolution, and additionally, its evolution shiny. It is arguably one of the most vibrant and unique shinies that's probably in the entire history of Pokemon. So I'm really excited to get this. What a brave choice! Awesome, super, super, super cool shiny. Cloth is also on my list of Pokemon to get. Oh!
Oh, another one, baby! Hey, my dude!
No!
Go away, you freak!
I want 2! I'll take a second one, I guess. Although having 2 new shinies on the team would be nice, for the sake of having a little more diversity on the team, I decided to only have 1, but make it a little more meaningful than everything else that I've obtained so far. Instead of naming this one myself, I went to Twitter and said that I would name Toadschool whatever the most liked reply was. Surely this won't be a complete disaster. next best step would be to take on another Titan, but at the moment my team wasn't really looking too great level-wise. So I made my way around the map, taking down some more Pterodons, which allowed me to get enough XP to evolve to get Toadskrull, Talonflame, and Copperaja to have a fully evolved team for the first time in the challenge. After quickly taking down the Earthworm Titan, I was able to unlock High Jump, which realistically doesn't help at all with progressing at this point, but it does transition into the next part of our journey. So after getting Toadskrull, I was really itching to check off more of that shiny want list that I made at the beginning of the game. And out of all of the new Gen 9 shinies, Clop is by far one of the best looking and one of the most noticeable to find in the wild in the entire game.
It's an amazing shiny.
For this one, and I figured that with the mass amount that you can see with a rock encounter sandwich, the potential to find one is pretty high. Especially
why don't you get Nackley instead?
Color. This is one of the few hunts that I planned that would be nearly impossible to miss across this extremely orange section of the map. Unfortunately, in comparison to the Mankey hunt, there were quite a few rock types
Nackley
that could still be seen here, so although my chances of getting exactly what I wanted is a little bit lowered, I still needed a rock type on my team.
Hello again! Hi, little buddy!
Oh, it's in like the same spot! It's like maybe 4 feet away. Come on!
You got low shakes.
Kinda different. It has Intimidate instead of Rivalry. I mean, I'm gonna catch it, obviously.
Yeah, you're gonna catch the damn thing. I don't think you're gonna use it, though.
Another one? I think I'm gonna still keep hunting, because this took not long at all, and I feel like that's kind of lame.
No, don't kill yourself, please. Don't kill yourself.
That I've already used before. Let's restart the counter. Nothing wrong with that. So from here, I just continue my hunt to find another member for this section, and considering that Shinx is the only Pokemon that I've obtained in this area, the chances of finding another duplicate would be pretty unlikely.
That's a shiny Nackley.
Is that shiny?
Yes. Maybe a shit shiny, like a design, like because how hard is it to see? But it's a good shiny.
Crazy.
It's hard to see on the friggin' thing.
I thought it was supposed to look darker than that.
Yeah, I thought so as well.
I thought it was supposed to be more of a brown. That's insane how difficult that is to see.
Oh, that's very hard to see, honestly.
I would have ran right by that.
But Garganacles.
Not even have batted an eye. If I didn't have my camera down, I would have never noticed. With our bundle of rocks on the team, we've officially made it over halfway through our badge quest, and are more than ready to take on the next big battle. I began grinding to evolve Nackley all the way into Garganical, and made my way to the next, most realistic badge that we can take.
Hey, Larry.
With the power of Hammer Arm, his normal types were no match, so I was very easily able to clean up this area of the map. After taking on another battle against Nimona, I had a general idea of what I wanted to do.
You mean against Cringe?
To up the stakes, I gave myself an ultimatum. Okay, so the plan for this badge is that I'm going to do another mass outbreak. I would like to do one that I've never visited before. So the game plan is I'm going to go to this one, and if I don't like it, I have one more choice between this one or this one. Whatever one I choose...
That one's the Warpalooza.
Here I made my way up to Glaciana Mountain, and quickly realized that I was entering one of the most unique areas to hunt in the entire game. I guess we're going.
Glimmet!
Oh, this is a really nice one. Although this was coincidentally another Dream Shiny on my list, there was one very blatant issue that I couldn't...
It's hard to figure out and spot. And it's also in a shit spawn point.
To spot them inside of a blizzard is nearly impossible for any sort of outbreak, but regardless, I pushed on and hoped that eventually I would find better conditions to work with.
That's shiny.
Oh, that's it. Oh, wow, that is so difficult to see. It's so teeny tiny. Jeez. Oh my god. Alright, so that was 629 total encounters. Once again, super low. Couldn't tell you why. This might be a lot of trial and error to get this, but eventually it'll work out.
No.
Oh, never mind.
That was easy.
Right. The best shiny, I think, in the game.
No! I honestly disagree, surprisingly.
Oh, it looks so good!
I think the best shiny...
Insane.
Goes to either probably
well
in the actual game, but like if you count any Pokemon in the game, like from the DLC, like from the thing, Koraidon. That black is amazing for Koraidon.
With Gladion unlocked, I made my way back to Medali to figure out my next hunt. So
but like an available Pokemon, probably either Cloth
extreme shinies. So for the
Toadstool
remainder of this challenge,
or
my intention
Greavard to
going
me
into this hunt
personally.
is to find exactly what I'm looking for. A small fact about me is that I love Gen 2 Pokemon, but above everything on this list, Scizor reigns supreme. Despite its shiny being not everybody's favorite, because it's known for being made of metal, I figured this might have got the same treatment as Magikarp, so I made some gourmet bug encounter sandwiches and took off into the wild. Even though Scizor's shiny is drastically different, Scyther's is quite hard to see from a distance, so this was arguably the most attentive I needed to be this far into the challenge. I'd also like to note this is unfortunately the point in the video where I start to have a lot of game audio issues, but I tried my best to make it bearable to listen to.
Ooh!
Oh,
There it is. That little red.
Oh, I'm so hyped to have this. Okay, so this took 735 Scyther encounters,
Wow.
so it was definitely over odds. Two best friends hanging out, dancing in the middle of the road. Oh, wow.
Nice ball.
Alright, cool.
Pit.
Scyther is now on the team. I think I'm just going to
Dumpy.
pretty much evolve this now. With the 12th member of the team obtained, I bought a metal coat and traded to another game to get a much more usable evolution.
Yep.
At this point, our options for badge challenges are starting to get pretty limited, but considering that Scizor is a steel type, I figured that challenging the Glaciato gym would be the most advantageous option at this moment. To be honest, this was an awful idea. Aside from the very obvious fact that his team was nearly 10 levels above mine, Grusha's Pokemon had plenty of coverage for steel types, so the rest of this team really had to put in work to get this badge. For the 13th member of this challenge, I wanted to try and hunt down a Pokemon that had the ability to evolve into different options, but there was a really unique one to this game that piqued my interest. Dunsparce.
Oh,
Although
the
this Pokemon
Dunsparce.
only has one evolution, there's an interesting mechanic in the game
3
where
segment and
Dunsparce
2
can
segment.
evolve into a rarer form. When it comes to getting to Dunsparce, there's a 1 in 100 chance that it will have 3 midsection segments rather than the 2 that it normally has. This variant was also
Wish no one had that.
but considering how drastic of a color difference to Dunsparce shiny is, I figured this would be a fun hunt to do. Although I did have to wait around for an outbreak to appear, I decided to take advantage of a little trick I found to improve my chances. Just like the wild spawns in the game, if you make an encounter power sandwich of a specific type, you're more likely to see a mass outbreak of that typing. So after making the world's tallest sandwich and waiting around for a bit, I made my way to Artisan to find the next member.
That was fast.
Oh, there it is! Okay, wow, that
Better
is
save.
insanely vibrant. You can't miss that.
Yeah, that's hard to
Okay,
miss.
so this
That
took
bright
me,
pink.
609 encounters.
Oh, that's actually not that bad, honestly.
Alright, now let's evolve this.
Did Dunsparce triple segment come on?
Moment
Triple segment?
of truth.
Triple segment?
Using a few rare candies I picked up earlier, I was ready to get my ultra rare Pokemon. This is the moment.
Doot doot.
Is Doot Doot the one that I want? Come on.
No.
Wait. As you can probably tell by now, I've been kind of neglecting taking on the Team Star bases, so despite being wildly underleveled for really anything that's left, I made my way to the top of the map to take on Ortega.
Hello,
Ortega.
Hello,
It was
Orty.
a lot easier than I thought it was going to be, but I'm definitely going to have to grind out a bunch more levels to take on the final big fights that are coming up.
Eerie.
The current team I had this far in the
Dondozo.
challenge, I realized that I was in desperate need of a dragon type. They're strong, have good movesets, and actually counter quite a few of the remaining badges that have to be claimed. Although there are plenty of insane options in this game, there was one that stood out to me more than the rest.
Figure back.
In the history of Pokemon playthroughs, I don't think I've ever met and if you've seen its shiny form before, you know that it'd definitely be a perfect
Nice
addition.
lime green.
After searching around the map, I ended up finding another outbreak in the open cavern by Porto Marinata, and I got straight to work trying to get a fast addition to help out my party.
Ooh!
There it is. Wow.
Hey there, little buddy.
Wow, that took so
Hello,
long.
Noi.
Okay, so this took me 2,785 encounters. I'll go for a dive ball. I really think
2,780 per
Hey,
count.
well, who knows? Oh.
That's a nice minty
It's not
fresh
very
green.
good, but it's as close as I'm going to get to matching the color of the Pokemon. Now, what level does this evolve? 48? Well, I guess I'm getting to grinding. At the end of the day, I was literally just complaining about how low my team's levels were, so I spent about 30 minutes defeating every Chansey that I could find to eventually evolve Noibat into Noivern, but also get my whole team to level 50.
Oh,
With all
no.
that taken care of, I decided that I wanted to finish
Poor
all the
thing.
in the southern section of the map. So I took a cavern to reach the city to take on another gym. Because I had collected 6 gym badges already, I had another battle with Nimona, but shortly after I was able to challenge and defeat Tulip, which allowed me to get the 14th badge in the challenge. Now that the second gym has been taken down, I was motivated to get a psychic type of my own. In my head I had a few options that sounded pretty neat, like Rabska or maybe even Armor Rouge, but for years I've always wanted to get a giraffe rig, which conveniently evolves into the
giraffe.
I decided to make my way back to the area where I found Noibat because I knew how common they were, and after making a psychic sandwich, well over half the spawns were just this Pokemon. Although I was hunting through random encounters for this, I had a feeling that it would turn up pretty quickly. Wait.
That's shiny. Hey, Toros. Toro, 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 Torres. Leo, Leo.
Oh my god! Oh, what a great guess! Oh, that's insane! Wow, that is so hard to tell. Look at the other ones! It's like impossible! This was the other Pokemon that I wanted to get in this.
Why?
So I'm totally content with it.
It's such a bad shiny compared to the regular Toros.
Wow. After grinding out some more levels, I figured now was the time to finish up one of the treasure hunt paths, and I figured that unlocking all of my ride abilities would be the best play first. I made my way over to Castle Royal Lake to challenge the Dondozo and Tatsugiri Titans, which admittedly I was very surprised I was able to take down, which unlocked climbing to allow me to traverse the region as much as I'd like. Now that we're reaching the end of the journey, I felt that I really needed to challenge myself. See, although as I felt that I was doing a really good job at mixing in the random encounters and the mass outbreak hunts,
Raid?
I was feeling I was getting a little too lucky. I really wanted to hunt something that would really test my patience.
Raid shiny?
I think I knew just the Pokemon. On the surface, Zoroark may not seem like
no.
because you can do mass outbreaks or run around and find it in the wild, but
in this game,
it has a unique
illusion.
It disguises itself as other Pokemon. Just like Ditto, on occasion if you encounter Pokemon, there's a chance that it's actually Zorua, and at no point can you visually see them walking around in the wild. This means that you either have to run into every Pokemon or lock onto them to see their description, but there is one more issue. In the event that the Zorua is shiny, the Pokemon that it disguises itself as will be its standard colors.
Yep.
This means that there's an insanely high probability that you can just pass by it and have zero clue that it's shiny, but thankfully there was a mechanic implemented to help with that. If you use the auto battle feature like how I've been doing with the mass outbreaks,
it won't kill it.
Pokemon will not knock out a shiny, which means that if I
unless it's a synchro battle. If it's a synchro battle, like if you use the synchro machine, you need to watch carefully because you can kill a shiny.
The most unique hunt that I've ever done. Wait.
Shiny Zorua!
Oh my no! Oh! Oh my god! Oh my god! I actually did it! Wow! So this took me 1,182 encounters. Man, this is just as exciting as Boros. It genuinely is. This is insane.
This is honestly, like, on shinies that exist in the game, in all game of Pokemon, this is actually in my top 10. It was number 1 for a while. Zorua was number 1 as my top favorite shiny for quite a long while.
Oh, thank God. Okay. Alright.
It's such a great shiny, honestly. You cannot hate Zorua shiny.
But I believe that is the 16th Pokemon now. 16. I think that's going to be the last random encounter that I do for this challenge. I definitely deserve to go and hunt something else that's a little bit easier. Before we jump into that, let's get another badge. After evolving into Zoroark, I made my way up Glasgow again to challenge the 8th and final gym leader on my list, Rhyme. Because of my type advantage, and admittedly being pretty overleveled in this battle, I managed to defeat her and finish yet another path in the storyline. With only 2 Team Star Dens left, I wanted to get enough coverage on my team for the remainder of the game, and I was in desperate need for an ice type. To be honest, I didn't really have anything in mind, so long as I just had the typing, but I came across an outbreak that really seemed like a nice find.
Oh, it's a title!
Although I was doing this hunt in the middle of a blizzard, I already knew what its shiny looked like.
It's an easy shiny to spot. If you don't see it shiny, you are blind as a bat. Or you're just colorblind.
Wow, that was insanely fast.
That is super easy to see. And it's also fucking adorable.
Alright, a whopping 84 encounters, which, let me check what that's ranked as. Aside from Shinx, that is the shortest hunt I've done in the entire challenge. Magikarp was 95 encounters, and this beat it by 11, so one singular picnic table reset. Absolutely
Nice job to
insane.
Tattle for
After
getting
leveling
second
up to
place.
Titan, I quickly made my way to the Tag Tree Thicket to challenge and defeat Atticus and the Navi Starmobile, which means that there's only one more shiny that needs to be found. For the 18th shiny, I wanted to follow suit with what I've seen in other badge quests. See, normally in this type of challenge, your starter is seen as the first member of the challenge, as it's always a cool
It's
looking
the last
Pokemon,
one.
and it's realistically the first one that you see in the entire game. Because I couldn't hunt for Fuecoco in the beginning of the game, I figured that making it the finale would be the next best option.
Oh boy.
How do we do this? Because I sold my starter from the beginning of the challenge, I grabbed a Ditto and opened up a picnic so I could farm as many eggs as possible. I made sure to grab recipes for egg power to boost my odds of one appearing in the basket, and when it came time to hatch them, I made sure to lead the party with, coincidentally, my other starter Talonflame, as its ability Flame Body halves the amount of steps for a Pokemon to hatch. I tried at a few locations, like outside Mesagoza and Alfrenada, to take on this final task. Is it because nearly half the hunts were all in this area? Maybe. But I just had a feeling that this was the spot that I'd find exactly what I was looking for.
And
oh, there it is!
Shiny Fuecoco!
Oh my god, no way! Wow.
He has no brain in himself behind those eyes.
4 eggs, which is not awful. Let's take a look. Good old Fuecoco.
He's got no thought behind those eyes.
He's like, Pokeball. There's not much I can say. It's gentle. No marks.
Aww.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
That's kind of it. So
that's kind of it.
Team, that's basically the entire quest. I've taken out Aries' badge, I defeated all 18 badges, and I was ready to tackle the rest of the story. I decided to craft a final team with the most diverse members that I could put together. My newest starter, my favorite Pokemon, my favorite shiny in this game, my most difficult to get shiny, an improved shiny, and a Pokemon that I've always wanted on my team. With everyone leveled up, I finished all of the treasure hunt stories, made my way to Area 0, found and challenged Professor Sada, and challenged the second Koraidon to finish the main story of this game. Overall, this challenge was a big one on my bucket list of playthroughs, and honestly, I don't think it could have gone better than it did. Sure, there were a few Pokemon that I wanted to get that I didn't get along the way, but who knows? Maybe I'll take this challenge on in another game and see what I can find. If you have any ideas for games you'd like me to try this in, leave a comment below. Aside from that, that's going to do it for today's video. If you like the video, leave a like and subscribe for more content.
As he says, do exactly what he says.
Once again, thank you to the Pokemon Company for sponsoring this video.
Leave a like and subscribe.